large number of the gang leaders were planted, and most of the rappers were and are agents as well. Which brings us back to rapper Mac 10, Dedrick Rawlinson, King's cousin by marriage.
They don't have no Crips and Bloods in New Orleans, right?
Who told you that? Let me break it down to you. Mac 10 came down here, right? And Mac 10 influenced Cash Money.
At age 23, Mac 10 came out of nowhere, supposedly a blood, and immediately went gold. He was in West Side Connection with Ice Cube, who is also an industry plant and looks like an agent. If you remember, Ice Cube was also in a group called CIA, which supposedly stood for Crew in Action. A little obvious, ain't it? Amazingly, Ice Cube later admitted on Bill Maher that rap was a CIA front.
Let's take rap music.
Let's take it.
Same people who own the labels own the prisons. The records that come out are really geared to push people towards that prison industry. It's not about making somebody write the lyrics, being there as guardrails to make sure certain songs make it through and certain songs don't. You know, some records are made by committee. You know, some social engineering going on here to make sure those prisons stay full.
Like, for example, writing a lyric, "Fuck the police." Might get somebody arrested and sent to prison.
That might get somebody arrested and sent to prison.
Did they manipulate you?
No. I'm an independent artist. Always have been. I started off on independent labels.
So how were you able to avoid this trap that so many others fell in? What did you do right?
I wouldn't let an A&R asshole in my studio.
I think he is getting close to having his character a retirement party, and by that I mean exiting the world stage. But here we see this. John Homeston, a retired CIA agent, admitted on national Russian television, NTV, that hip-hop was a psyop invented by the CIA in the 1980s, and the agency has directed and financed household name artists including NWA, Dr. Dre, Jay-Z, and Kanye West. The government at the time spent big money, serious money, on this covert operation designed to corrupt the American youth to nihilist, anti-establishment, and anti-American ideologies, and sow division in America, he explained in a half-hour interview broadcast on national television. All of this should be obvious by now, but I think they are leaving people off of that list. They're stating those that are at the end of their career, while not mentioning those making music for the youth now. Ice Cube's first EP, Kill at Will, pictured him handing you a gun. The title speaks for itself. The next one, Death Certificate, shows Uncle Sam dead, covered in a sheet. Again, the album title speaks for itself. Next was The Predator, where Ice is smoking a pipe with a skull on it. Ice Cube has promoted the Nation of Islam beginning in his 1991 album, Death Certificate. Please note that the Nation of Islam teaches that the white man is the devil. This separates it from most schools of Islam.
My father always taught me to always want to be equal. But once I learned who the devil was, I would never want to be equal to him.
When Ice Cube speaks about devils in his music, or as he did in this video clip, he's talking about whites. Even with all of his talk, he still went on to do a couple of commercials for St. Ides beer, part of a company with no black leadership. I guess his idea of black power is doing the so-called devil's work. Average blacks from the streets don't own the music or movie industry. He can't have it both ways by hating and advocating separatism while at the same time working hand in hand with those he says are the oppressors. But since Allah is apparently working with New Age minister Ice Cube, it's important to see what he is ministering to the youth. Since the early 90s, Cube has infused gangster rap stories with the teachings of the Nation of Islam in order to indoctrinate the youth. Some of their views have included anti-Semitic rhetoric, the belief that Wallace Fard Muhammad, the religion's founder, is the savior.
I bear witness that there is but one God, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger.
As well as some CIA UFO teachings. This alone should tell you that Ice Cube's music is beyond something that could be brushed off as simple entertainment. Here is Khalid Muhammad's intro to the song Cave Bitch.
Give me a black goddess sister, I can't resist her. No stringy-haired, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, pale-skinned, buttermilk complexion, grafted, recessive, depressive, ironing board backside, straight up, straight down, no frills, no thrills, miss 6 o'clock, subject to have the itch, butanoid, Caucasoid, white cave bitch.
Note the artwork for the song shows Ice Cube's music being injected into a child. Ice Cube attended William Howard Taft High School in the Woodland Hills area of Los Angeles. He was bused 40 miles to the suburban school from his home in a high-crime neighborhood. You have to laugh. Straight out of Woodland Hills. Just so you know, no one is bused 40 miles.
Chen is a development and fund in San Francisco, San Francisco. They mean his life is a development in San Francisco.
I will translate this a little better for us. She states his life was a development in San Francisco. The father gave him another nickname after he went back to China.
After he go back to China, and the father gave him the Yun Gam. Yun Gam is his school name. Yeah, Yun Gam, Yun in its original. Gam is something like a prosperity of gold, money, something like that.
It's a school name, means someone of authority and gold, money. Someone of authority of gold money, huh? Who does that bring to mind? Another interesting note, Bruce's Genie.com page has his entire bio also written in Hebrew. No one else seems to have this Hebrew translation. Bruce's father was Joseph Hoi Chuen Lee, also an actor and opera singer. Actors come from actors, naturally, and historically in the West actors have been almost exclusively Jewish. So, is it a coincidence that the Chinese Lee family seems to be of special interest to Jewish readers? As further support of this connection, a look at Wikipedia tells us this. During the Ming Dynasty, 1368-1644, a Ming emperor conferred 7 surnames upon the Jews, by which they are identifiable today. Now, we see Lee up there, but it is spelled differently in the romanization, so that's not the same name. Wait, or is it? Here's Bruce's name in Chinese. And the Jewish Chinese name Lee. Jet Li also shares this name. Hoi Chuen Lee, in addition to being an opera singer and actor, was apparently also military. Intelligence is going to be my guess, but his bio does not mention any military service. His movie career reportedly didn't start until after the war. You don't get to be recruited into the military at 40, especially not after your country has already been soundly beaten and occupied. So he was a career military man even while acting and singing. That lines up with what we find here in the West concerning intelligence and actors.
Telling me that there is a movie company in Hollywood right now that is funded by the CIA?
Yes, sir.
At Wikipedia, his name is also given as Lee Moon Shuen, with Hoi Chuen being listed as a stage name. At Genie, it is listed the opposite way, with Moon Shuen being listed as an alias. The characters for Lee Moon Shuen are, which individually translates to Lee, as in the Jewish tribe, full, and boat. A boat full of Jews. Is this one of our classic Intel pun names? Hoi Chuen is spelled like this, which individually translates to sea and spring, as in freshwater. We have several references to water and boats, along with a Jewish surname and military connection, all pointing straight to the Phoenician Navy. He featured in over 70 movies in his career. His first had titles such as Robbing the Dead, Christmas Tree and Hundreds of Birds Adoring a Phoenix, in 1947 of course. Right on theme. Note that we have the Lees and the Hoes. The article says these 4 are 4 business families who historically rose to prominence and became influential in Hong Kong. In order of influence, they are Lee, Ho, Lo, and Wee. Here's something, do you know who the first Ho was? Robert Ho Tung. Doesn't sound Chinese, does it? But what is his full name? Sir Robert Hotung Bozeman. Bozeman. Is that Jewish? Check him out. You see, he was a merchant, and we've got some family connections. Who was Phoenician pseudo-Chinese Bozeman's great-nephew? Yes, Bruce Lee. The famous Bruce Lee. So Bruce Lee is Phoenician through and through, which, not to detract from his real charm, charisma, and talent, does account nicely for his big-time success in both Hong Kong and Hollywood cinema, and does make one wonder if both he and his son Brandon faked their deaths. In retrospect, all the mystifying and mythologizing around that, if you've followed the Lees, their sudden, unexpected deaths and their similarities, now reads more like fiction than anything else. You might draw a parallel to the numerology of Lincoln and Kennedy. Sold as mystical, but really a function of Phoenician theater and its insufferable, interminable inside jokes.
Bruce Lee's death hits Hong Kong like a tornado. The local press is full of speculation and rumor. How could one so fit and healthy die so young?
On to the reportage of Bruce's death. We are told that he previously had an episode of seizure and fainting while recording lines in Hong Kong on May 10 of 1973. This was ruled to have been from a cerebral edema, which they only treated with Mannitol. Neither the actor, his family, friends, or managers were interested in what caused his brain to swell in the first place, apparently because we get no reports of any follow-ups or tests. Your brain nearly burst from your skull to the point you blacked out and seized up. Just spray some artificial sweetener on it and be on your way, I guess.
Okay.
We also get the little footnote that Lee had his underarm sweat glands removed in late 1972, just a few months before his first seizure. You can take a look at any description of the procedure, a thoracic sympathectomy, and see that it is a long, long list of risks with only one pro. Less sweat. We were told that Lee did it because he thought sweat looked bad on camera. Except, in every movie, he is greased up like a showroom car to make his muscles pop in the lighting from every angle, just like pro bodybuilders or wrestlers. So you have your sweat glands removed, then replace the sweat with baby oil. This is to give us another false angle, that he died from heat stroke because he couldn't sweat, but I don't buy that either. A health and fitness nut like Lee would not be likely to take such a dangerous and unnecessary surgery for something that could have been solved with a towel boy on set. If in fact, it was a problem to be solved. Bruce studied bodybuilding and was a stage actor. He knew better than anyone that sweat made you look better on camera, not worse. Not only that, but that surgery is an invasive procedure. Are we to believe he took no painkillers prior to his death to recover from that? Was he a professional stuntman or athlete, and he took no painkillers for any injuries during his movies or training or exhibitions? If he had, he would have already felt and known the effects it would have on him, if indeed the drugs had such an effect. We are told Equagesic was commonly in use at the time, so it is very unlikely a man in his profession would have zero experience with it. Confirming my reasoning here is a quote. Lee didn't avoid alcohol because of discipline, per Entertainment Weekly. The reality is that he didn't like to drink alcohol because it caused an unpleasant physiological reaction, which he shared with an estimated 35% of Asian people. After even a few sips, sake was the exception, Lee would become flushed and nauseous. He did, however, enjoy other substances, specifically cannabis, according to CNN. Also, Bruce had a personal doctor on call, but never had an allergy test. This also conflicts with the first episode of his brain swelling. It is not reported that he had taken Equagesic when the exact same thing happened to him months before, so how could it be the cause for the second episode?
Equagesic is the painkiller Bruce takes to combat a headache. It contains aspirin, but also another drug, called meprobamate.
The mainstream is throwing a bunch of different explanations out there so readers can pick and choose whichever sits best with them. That's not how actual deaths go.
Do you think there was foul play?
Good question. I would sure like to find out.
In 1973, the official verdict was Bruce Lee was killed by the aspirin, but there is no scientific evidence that he reacted to this drug. When the public learns Bruce Lee died in Betty's apartment, she is seen as a prime suspect. Her lifestyle choices further fuel public suspicions.
Betty Ting-Pei ran with a fast crowd and was involved in the darker aspects of Hong Kong show business.
As long as you are focused on all of the planted theories, you will never focus on the idea that no one died at all. This alone is very important, and I can't stress this enough. The 2010 biopic Bruce Lee, My Brother, also pushes us in this direction, suggesting that Bruce became the target of Hong Kong mafia groups in his teenage years.
Now we have the glitching chair. Well, these things are being filmed at 120p. One would expect these glitches to appear, which is why these things were filmed at such low quality. Note that this is a college, and kids are equipped with the latest iPhones and Androids. In fact, when KIRK arrived at the campus, there was a noticeable presence of cell phones among the crowd gathered near the tent. Were those kids specifically removed from that section when the debate began? How is it possible that no one recorded the shooting at a higher quality? So this low quality should be your clue that this is staged. As with Trump's fake assassination attempts, apparently the shooter was visible to some in the crowd, who pointed at him and cried out, "He's going down!" Again indicating staging.
Yeah, someone's on top of the roof. Look. There he is right there. Right there, you see him? He's laying down, you see him?
Yeah, he's laying down.
You think he'd already be in place?
You would think that. So there's somebody on the roof right there? Just saying? He just ran from, over, where's my finger? From over there, ran in, and now he's right there.
He's got a gun! Janie's got a gun. He's got a gun! Janie's got a gun!
Supposedly, regular students or civilians were able to spot KIRK's killer on the roof, while the hired security could not, which indicates it is fake, since this means his team was blind, deaf, and dumb. But of course, like all of this, the one who spotted the killer on the roof was also planted and placed to catch this footage.
We have recovered what we believe is the weapon that was used in yesterday's shooting. It is a high-powered bolt-action rifle. That rifle was recovered in a wooded area where the shooter had fled.
They are now claiming to have found the gun and extra ammo, engraved with transgender and anti-fascist ideology, which the shooter ditched. That would never happen. A sniper savvy enough to take out KIRK with one shot would not ditch the gun and leave clues all over it. It would be so easy not to. Plus, the engraving BS is right out of Langley or Hollywood. This is scriptwriters with too much time on their hands. They must be charging by the hour. He also left fingerprints or palm prints, which is not believable. He had never heard of gloves. Why not just leave a forwarding address? Robinson coming in or out on the day, we are told he ditched it in a field afterwards, so he should have it both coming and going. You will say he broke it down and was carrying it in the backpack.
How quickly, if it is broken down, because it doesn't look like he's jumping with a long rifle tucked in his leg. It looks like it's got to be in that backpack. So how quickly could he break it down if he needed to break it down?
A second or two.
Wait for it. Here it comes. Almost there.
Literally just push a button and wrap it around, push another button and wrap it back. They're designed to be able to be put into full-length mode or compact mode extremely quickly.
They want us to believe he assembled a Mauser, which makes it lose 0, inaccurate, 150-plus feet-pound barrel torque, then disassembled and packed it, fled to the woods, then spent minutes reassembling it to leave it neatly for them. Not possible. It doesn't break down like that. If he could have broken it down into a small case, he wouldn't need to ditch it, would he? And what kind of moron wraps a rifle like that in a towel and dumps it in the woods near the crime scene? The report goes on to claim all his motions were found on various security cameras, and they tell you exactly what he did, including his motions on the rooftop. But of course, that begs this question. Both the university and KIRK should have had a person monitoring those cameras. That is what they are there for. Not all cameras are monitored 24/7 by an actual person, but during an event like this, many in the area would be, for just this reason. Again, that is what they are there for, and that is why you hire security. This is one of the things they do, and KIRK was a millionaire who had plenty of money for security. So it makes no sense that we have all this footage afterwards, but that no one was monitoring it at the time. So this is an obvious fake event. There was no gun, no shooter, and no death. Just a blank fired or a shot into a wall, and KIRK pretending to die, with fake blood squirting like in an old Monty Python skit. Or CGI'd in after the fact. How is this done? In my opinion, most, if not all, of the crowd inside the gated area has been planted. The spectators outside the gate are too far away to see anything closely. When the shot goes off, all they can see is his shirt blowing as if it were hit by an air gun. At this moment, AI, or the remote-controlled air and blood pack, is activated. It's quite possible that the blood was introduced before the footage was uploaded to X. Moreover, consider the use of high-quality cameras for the recording. The strategy of flooding Twitter with low-resolution phone footage serves as a clever psychological ploy. While we focus on this inferior quality, they are busy refining and editing the high-definition footage to make it appear authentic. By the time they release the polished version, we'll be so accustomed to the grainy clips that people will readily accept the high-quality footage as genuine. This is not just a ploy, it's a manipulation tactic. The audience outside the gate does not see any actual blood. Those who are planted inside the gate will confirm that there was blood because they were aware of the setup. Others will believe it because they think they witnessed it themselves. This explains why they claimed he was shot in the chest.
I heard a loud bang, which I figured a shot would be a little bit louder, but I just saw it hit him in the chest, and then all of a sudden just tons of blood gushing right out where his heart is.
The planted witnesses are then interviewed.
I think we are being told the entire event is like this stool, a manufactured absurdity. Another manufactured absurdity is the alleged death of Eldon Hoke, aka El Deuce, frontman for the Mentors. In many interviews, he said Courtney Love had asked him to kill Kurt.
You did some deal with Courtney, right?
Yeah. She offered me 50 grand to whack Kurt Cobain.
Yeah, I was telling you this. She what?
50 grand to whack Kurt Cobain.
And that's a fact, is it?
You know, when she offered me money, God dang, I wish I would have taken it, man. But I know who whacked him.
But how were you gonna whack him? Did she tell you how to do it?
Yeah, blow his fucking head off.
So where were you gonna find him to do it?
Well, up there, and she gave, mapped it out. I just didn't think she was serious.
But did she tell you how she wanted you to pop
she
it?
says blow his fucking head off. I got the shotgun.
But she didn't say anything about
Make
making
it look like a
suicide.
50 grand does a lot of talking. You buy me a beer, I might do some more talking. Ah!
2 days after the last interview, he was hit by a train in the middle of the night. This is supposed to scare us and make us think Hoax was offered for getting too close to the truth, when the likely truth is just the opposite. Hoax was hired to say this, and then his death was faked. Hoax's entire career looks like another Intel project.
A bunch of sickos here. Why do you and the members of your perverted band, why do you wear black hoods over your face? Why do you wear a stupid wig over your head?
I do not like things that promote violence against
let me ask you something. When were you raped?
I was raped in 70.
You look kind of familiar, I'm just saying.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Peaceful rape. That's when a girl passed out.
What do you mean peaceful?
Well, when she's passed out on drugs, we get a gang together and...
So are you ready to rape women at command? No. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The Mentors were the worst of the hardcore bands out of Seattle. As we have seen artists being Intel projects in previous videos, these bands are manufactured from the ground up to create chaos. Keep in mind Hoax's death was confirmed by the LA County Coroner. The LA County Coroner's words are worth nothing. The position has been filled since the 1960s by a series of federal plants hired to fake reports and lie to the press. Noguchi faked the autopsies of Robert Kennedy, Sharon Tate, John Belushi, Natalie Wood, and many others. But we will cover that later. Rogers faked the autopsies of River Phoenix, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, and so on. Given the track record of the coroner's office, you should trust nothing they say. Eldon Hoax and his band looks to be a group that was planted, but as it turns out, almost all bands are. From the Beatles and Rolling Stones and Bob Dylan up to the present moment. This includes punk, grunge, rap, metal, hardcore, drill, alternative, and even R&B. I will now point out some other things being overlooked in the COBAIN story. There was a lot of late misdirection on the event, which is a red flag. For instance, we have seen several stories pop up as misdirection, including the idea Weezer frontman Rivers Cuomo is Cobain, hiding in plain sight. He isn't. We have also had a guy claim to be Cobain. We can be pretty sure his claim is false. These projects and others like them are more evidence the suicide was faked, since there would be no need to create such absurd misdirection around a real event years after the fact. Stories like these are created a lot, and it further proves that those celebrity deaths are fake. The fake stories are meant to throw the fake death in your face to toy with your emotions. They get a laugh out of the work they pulled off. Also, the mainstream has to create constant confusion to protect all its lies, and it has to keep doing this decade by decade, just in case any real analysis rears its head. The research indicates Cobain faked his death. You may ask the question. That's just 3 months after he signed with RCA. And I guess he was in the Rock Hall of Fame by April. Right. But did you know that by April he had signed a 7-year contract with Paramount Pictures? What was that based on, we have to wonder. Had he even done a screen test? Had those people even met him? He was bombing in Las Vegas at the time, both with audiences and with critics, so what was the rush to get him on film? Well, do you remember Marcus Lowe, the billionaire who owned the theater where Elvis worked before fame? Lowe was a business partner with Adolf Zucker, another Jewish tycoon who founded Paramount Pictures. Zucker and Lowe had apparently been in on the Elvis project since Elvis was born. Presley's first major TV appearance was on The Milton Berle Show. Presley was on The Milton Berle Show within 10 days of the release of his first album. In 1933, Milton Berle was hired by producer Jack White to star in a musical comedy, which was released by Educational Pictures. Note the date. Note that this is a political film. Note that it was released by Educational Pictures. Shirley Temple got her start at Educational Pictures, and remember earlier we mentioned the Beatles being an intelligence project. She was on the cover of Sgt. Pepper album cover. Remember what that means. She is a spook. Everyone on the cover of Sgt. Pepper is a famous spook. But Educational Pictures was headed by the producer E.W. Hammonds. In short, these were propaganda films. Educational Pictures are propaganda films. Jack White was really Jack Weiss, and was Jewish. He produced over 300 films, many of them for intelligence. Milton Berle's Texaco Star Theater premiered on TV in 1948. It was one of the very first popular TV shows. Of course, it was sponsored by Texaco, a huge oil producer. So we see again how the upper class controls the middle class via pushed entertainment and constant propaganda. Much of this entertainment was harmless or even salutary, but stirred into it was a large dose of misdirection, which very few people could stir out or ignore. Elvis made his second appearance on Berle's show just 2 months after the first. We were told the ratings were very high for these shows, but we now know ratings are manufactured to suit the suits. If they want the ratings to be high, they are high. This also applies to the record charts, which we are told Presley was ruling at the time. Remember, these charts weren't even based on sales. They were based on radio play. Billboard was always based on radio play, and of course that was determined by DJs. Well, who determined what the DJs would play? It is implied that this was determined by call-in requests, but that isn't true. DJs don't receive enough requests to base their overall playlists on that. Do you think they have time to record every request and then make charts from them? Of course not. Back in the day, they would certainly play some requests, but the day's playlists were not based on them. Most DJs base their playlists on the charts, so we have already gone circular there. You can't base the lists on the charts and base the charts on the lists. So, logically, the charts must have been determined in some other way. It is all top-down. You are sold bottom-up, with buyers determining popularity. But that isn't the way it happens. Buyers are controlled from the top down and told what to buy via these manufactured charts and sales figures. People buy what they like to only a limited extent. In large part, people buy what they think their neighbors are buying to look cool. So if the charts tell them their neighbors like Elvis, they will try to like him too. If they tell you Sexy Red streams are in the millions, you will go check it out. This is Sales 101, perfected by people like Edward Bernays. The unaware public fall for it every time with industry plants. Jailhouse Rock is another propaganda film, since it is full of pushed information. But the most amusing thing about the movie is the lyrics to the title song.
Number 47 said to number 3, but you were the cutest jailbird I ever did see. I sure would be delighted with your company. Come on and do the jailhouse rock with me, rock.
Number 47 said to number 3, "You're the cutest jailbird I ever did see. I sure would be delighted with your company. Come on and do the jailhouse rock with me." Do you see the problem? They don't mix the sexes in a jail block, so number 47 and number 3 are both men. Elvis is saying to another man, "You're the cutest jailbird I ever did see." Also, notice the numbers they chose there. 1947 is year 1 of the CIA. And they love the number 3, as we know.
Said the number 3.
Between late 1960 and early 1968, Elvis did not appear on TV once, which is strange.
about this, Elvis, and this.
It's worth noting that back in 1999, he falsely claimed to be 14.
You turned 15 Monday?
Yeah.
You're 14 years old?
Yeah.
You turned 15 Monday?
Yeah.
You're 14 years old?
He was allegedly born in 1982. This interview was in 1999. Do the math. So do we really know the age of Lil Wayne? He was effectively saying the shooting happened around the time of that interview. Moreover, his accounts of how the police were alerted are conflicting. In one interview, he insists his friend called the authorities.
Everybody jumped over my body to go get the guns and drugs. We called the ambulance.
We called the ambulance.
While in another, he says he crawled to the phone to make the call himself.
Laid out on the floor, he crawled to the phone and called 911.
This level of misremembering is beyond coincidence. It suggests a deliberate attempt to alter the narrative, as if they expect us to forget previous statements or articles. Then there's Robert Hubler, the New Orleans police officer who supposedly played a crucial role in saving Lil Wayne at the ages of 11, 12, 13, or 14. Lil Wayne mentions Uncle John in one interview.
Looking up at him like, who are you? He said, I'm Uncle John. That's what he told me his name was, Uncle John.
Only to later switch to Uncle Bob.
He said, don't worry, my name's Uncle Bob. I know a good motherfucker named Uncle Bob, though. He said, I'm Uncle John. I know a good motherfucker named Uncle Bob, though.
These glaring contradictions cannot be ignored. With such a tangled web of conflicting statements, it's difficult not to suspect that there is a deeper level of deception at play in the story surrounding Lil Wayne. The ending story is that the officer grabbed Lil Wayne after being shot, put him in his squad car, and drove to the hospital.
He picked me up and he told whoever was driving, he's like, behind the wheel, now.
They opened the door for me because I had him in my arms. I was carrying him just like a baby.
This is another false story. We see here from the Trace website. In New Orleans, police officers generally do not transport gunshot victims in their squad cars. According to a spokesperson from the New Orleans Police Department, officers are instructed to secure the scene and await EMS transport. There are no instances on record of police routinely transporting shooting victims. Did you catch that? There are no instances on record of police routinely transporting shooting victims. Unlike cities such as Philadelphia, which have formal policies allowing officers to rush gunshot victims to the hospital, New Orleans does not have such a practice. EMS is the designated responder. The New Orleans Police Department relies on trained EMS personnel to transport and provide medical care to shooting victims. But why not? It should be obvious that scene safety and crime investigation, officers' primary responsibilities at a shooting include securing the scene and preserving evidence, activities that would be hampered if they left with a patient. Lack of medical training. EMS responders are equipped and trained to handle medical emergencies. Police are not. No official allowance for transportation. As noted, there's no instance where officers transported a gunshot victim, or any victim for that matter, per the department's standard policy. If the story were real and Lil Wayne had succumbed to his injuries, the repercussions for the officers could have been severe, potentially exposing them to significant legal liability. Furthermore, if Lil Wayne or his friends called the police while bleeding out, why did dispatch only send police officers and no ambulance?
4 New Orleans policemen responded to the call.
Convenient for the story, right? I guess they were bending all the rules for this future rapper. Lil Wayne shares images of his wounds.
Yeah.
Where'd you hit yourself?
The chest.
Let's see.
There.
Wow.
Came out through the back.
But how can we truly verify that they originate from the incidents he describes? The truth is, we can't. Those injuries might stem from an entirely different situation altogether. Let's not take everything at face value without seeking deeper clarity. Let's take a moment to reflect on our documentary about emo rap.
The shadow government did not take over after 9/11. The shadow government always existed. But those who hatched the Kennedy plot are in control of both sides and both theories, both for and against, both the standard model and the alternate model. The other side can always dismiss testimony, calling it a lie or a misremembrance. If they do not accept our witnesses, we certainly don't have to accept theirs. There is the very real possibility that no one is telling the truth, except those who know nothing. So we must begin with a clean slate. All witnesses on both sides should be thrown out as unreliable. Once we do that, we are down to an analysis of the films, photos, and of other existing physical evidence. The Zapruder film, as well as the others, contain lots of other anomalies, discovered by hundreds of researchers. Some of these anomalies I would confirm here if I cared to, but I don't. I don't because, in the end, all these anomalies act as more misdirection. They get us focusing on details when we should be looking at the overall picture. We've all seen the footage and heard the official stories, but have you ever really looked at the witnesses? I mean, really look. Because, if you pay close attention, you might notice something we see in almost all of these staged events. Script readers. This alleged witness talks about the chaotic scene in Dallas, but listen to the speech pattern, look at the stare into the camera, while the reporter is asking questions to his right.
There was a group of employees from the Union Terminal at the time, and 2 Dallas policemen.
What did you see, and what did you hear?
As the presidential limousine was rounding the curve on Elm Street, there was a loud explosion. At the time, I didn't know what it was, but
He pauses at odd times, like he's waiting for a cue.
a loud firecracker or a gunshot, and it sounded like it came from the left and in front of us, towards the wooden fence. And there was a puff of smoke that came underneath the trees on the embankment.
Where was the puff of smoke, Mr. Simmons, in relation to the wooden fence?
It was right directly in front of the wooden fence.
He looks to be reading from a teleprompter or notes just off camera. Just as with the next witness.
And then what happened? What did you see? What did you hear? We were listening.
Then what happened? What did you see? What did you hear? We were listening.
Were you questioned by FBI agents or Secret Service agents during January '64? Yes, sir, I was. When was that, sir? That was on January. Then what happened? Two days after that.
They're just reciting lines. This doesn't seem natural for someone recounting a genuine traumatic event. It's almost as if they distance themselves from the story, like it's not really his own experience. They're all playing a role, their expressions, their tone, everything seems oddly synchronized. It's almost too perfect in an odd way. Everyone involved is reading from the same playbook. Another piece of evidence for a movie set that day. Let us look at the so-called Bill Newman and his family diving to the ground for safety. This is the worst piece of acting ever. First of all, we have no evidence this was even taken on the 22nd. Zapruder is not back there on his perch, for one thing. Then we have dad and son both looking directly at not one but 2 cameramen, one still, and one video. Both cameramen are in black suits and don't appear to be concerned by the flying bullets at all. Actually, neither do dad and son. Dad is supposed to be covering son, protecting him from flying shrapnel, but son's head is still provocatively out in the breeze, where the cameraman can't see its beauty. In fact, if you are very observant, you can see two people sitting under a tree, in the shade. Look under the no standing sign, at the very edge of the photo. You have two people in red shirts, one wearing light trousers, the other wearing black sunglasses. They forgot to trim that photo, I would say. Another problem is the video camera we can clearly see in the man's hands. That is no crappy camera. It is a professional video camera like the TV stations used. This is supposed to be footage right after the shot. But if that is the case, why do we now have to rely on the Zapruder film? Was this guy in the black suit filming his shoes a split second earlier when the motorcade passed? For that matter, why does he find this uninjured family on the ground to be more important to history than the president who has just been shot and who would still be in the frame? This professional cameraman is only yards from where the motorcade just passed, on the same line as Zapruder. I don't want to see his footage of a fake family, I want to see his footage of Kennedy. But it is obvious, he had no footage of Kennedy, since this whole aftermath photo is a setup. We will see. Governor Connolly said there were at least two occasions on which the automobile stopped in Dallas, and perhaps a third.
There was one little girl out carrying a sign saying, "Mr. President, will you please stop and shake hands with me?" He just told the driver to stop and shook hands, and of course he was immediately robbed by a bunch of youngsters. At another point along the route, a sister, a Catholic nun, was there, obviously from a Catholic school with a bunch of little children, and he stopped and spoke to her and to the children, and I think there was one other stop on the way downtown, but I don't recall the precise occasion. But
Knowing what we now know, you have to admit that is curious testimony. All three stops are curious. The first two read like a Hollywood script, inserted specifically for emotional effect. Children and nuns. I am just surprised we didn't have to hear about a three-legged dog and a veteran in a wheelchair and a mom with an apple pie. But the third is the strangest. Connolly can remember these children and nuns, but he can't remember the third stop. Any psychologist would tell you this reads like someone covering something. It's textbook. It has all the signs of poor lying. Someone telling a fib and not doing it well at all. He thinks they stopped a third time, but can't tell us what it was. Why even mention it? Why not just say 2 times, or make up some stupid story about the third time? Because he is a bad liar, and his conscience is inserting itself right here. It's a huge Freudian red flag. After all, his story changes about JFK's wife.
Because Ms. Kennedy said, she just screamed, "My God, I've got his brains in my hand."
And when he was hit the second time, she said, or the first time, it all happened in such a brief span, she said, "Oh my God, they've killed my husband." I said, Jack.
Ms. Kennedy said, she just screamed, "My God, I've got his brains in my hand."
She said, "Oh my God, they've killed my husband." I said, Jack.
You worked with John Kennedy, you knew LBJ, you were in Nixon's cabinet.
Got shot with John Kennedy.
You were in the same car as John Kennedy the day he was shot.
But perhaps the third time Connolly is thinking of is the time they could have possibly switched Kennedy with a fake body. It is impossible to know, of course, but the footage may prove my point. Just remember, they had quality like this. But instead, they gave us this poor quality. I personally believe they have the alleged murder on footage as clear as Hollywood movies at the time, but that'll give away too much information, so they act as if they're enhancing the only footage they have. In reality, they downgraded it and then slowly upgraded it as the years passed. This will allow them to create conspiracies. According to this curious testimony, they stopped at least 3 times. 3 times. If this thing had not been completely controlled, they should not. Of course, it's fake, just another marker telling us he was a part of them. Just like the officers bringing Ted Bundy a birthday cake while allegedly in prison. They're laughing at those that believe in any of this.
Got him! Got him!
In short, all these serial killers have connections in high places, as we see Gacy at a private event with President Jimmy Carter's wife, showing their connection with their Masonic handshake. Remember, Rosalind Carter met with both John Wayne Gacy and Jim Jones. James Warren Jones was an alleged American preacher, political activist, and mass murderer. Not the rapper. To close out, we should ask ourselves, why the clown theme? Other than the creepy factor, why did intelligence put it in the script? I think it's a marker linking us to the hidden elites who scripted out most of our history. Just read one of the first things Wikipedia mentions about clowns. The most ancient clowns have been found in the 5th dynasty of Egypt, around 2400 BC. Unlike court jesters, clowns have traditionally served a socio-religious and psychological role, and traditionally the roles of priest and clown have been held by the same persons. Priests and clowns seem like opposites at first, one representing the sacred and the other the profane. But they are two sides of the same Phoenician coin, the stage left and stage right of the same theater, and they are played by the same actors. Both priests and clowns have always been the domain of Jews Phoenicians. A look at the history of modern clowns confirms this. The modern clown traces back to Joseph Grimaldi, an English actor and comedian from the early 1800s. Amazingly, they don't admit he was from the infamous House of Grimaldi, a Genoese noble family known for banking and maritime trade, aka Phoenician Navy. The next famous clown in history was George Washington Lafayette Fox. Fox is a variant of Fuchs, a well-known Jewish name. After Fox, we got Bozo the Clown, created by NBC executive Alan Livingston, and Times of Israel admits Livingston was Jewish. So Livingston is really Levinson, from the tribe of Levi, aka the priestly tribe. Bozo was famously portrayed on TV by Frank Stevens, aka Frank Average, also Jewish. So, what is the clown figure all about? It's a form of the trickster, a common archetype in mythology and folklore. Tricksters violate principles of social and natural order, playfully disrupting normal life and then re-establishing it on a new basis. By contrast, the priestly role is meant to establish and promote order. It's their age-old game, the motto of the 33rd degree, where the priest signifies order and the clown signifies chaos. In other words, Gacy was just another agent of Operation Chaos.
The world is a stage. The world is a stage. The world is a cage. The world's so strange. The world is a stage. Celebrities are fake. TV not real. They want to control us. Girls turn to boys and boys turn to girls. What's wrong with us? Hollywood, they lie to us all. Agents in the dark never die at all. Play with the dolly, the mind is all they want. Don't trust the system, entertainment, no. Oh, close your eyes and cast that deep the breath. They want to control you and take away your mind. Don't read the newspaper, it will make you blind. Presidents are puppets, they only read lines. School only teach you how to be a slave, and Earth just might be a whole other shape. Oh, don't listen to them. Hey boy, you are dreamy, you don't have to change. I love you how you are, don't manipulate your brain. The world is a stage. The world is a stage. The world is a cage.